Let's be real. Creating a spinoff for a show like The Office sounds, well, impossible, right? But what if I told you they had a secret plan to pull it off? Today, we are unpacking that exact mission. So you're going to want to hit that subscribe button because we're diving right in. So here's the billion-dollar question. Can you actually spin off a legend? I mean, the fan skepticism is absolutely through the roof. The risk of messing this up is huge. So how did the creators even dare to try? Well, it turns out they started with a secret weapon. And that secret weapon? It was basically a giant red eject button. No joke. The creators had a kill switch for the entire project, ready to go from the very first day. That's right, the show's co-creator, Greg Daniels, insisted on having an eject button to cancel the whole thing at any point. I mean, any point. During writing, in the middle of filming, whenever. If he felt it wasn't good enough, poof, it was gone. Talk about some serious pressure. You have to understand, the stakes could not have been higher. They're trying to follow up one of the most streamed shows of all time. So the mission was pretty straightforward. Either make something genuinely great or just bury it and pretend it never happened. So, what is this high-stakes show that actually managed to survive and avoid that eject button? Okay, let's head over to Toledo, Ohio, and meet the team at The Paper. All right, so the show is a brand new mockumentary, and it's set at this struggling little local newspaper called The Truth Teller. And get this, the big connection is it's the exact same documentary crew from Dunder Mifflin. They've just, found a new office to film. And who do they happen to find working there? Yep, a very, very familiar face. Oscar Nuñez is now an accountant for the newspaper's parent company, and, well, let's just say he is not thrilled to see those cameras again. But let's get one thing straight. This is not Dunder Mifflin Part 2. It's not just a carbon copy. So let's do a little rapid-fire introduction to the new crew. First up, you've got Ned, who's the new leader. Now, he might be a Nepo baby, but he is the polar opposite of Michael Scott. This guy genuinely wants to do good. He wants to save the paper. He's got this big Clark Kent energy. Then there's Esmeralda. She's the managing editor, and she could not care less about hard-hitting journalism. Oh no, she's way more proud of her masterpiece article titled, "You Won't Believe How Much Ben Affleck Tipped His Limo Driver." And, of course, there's Oscar. Our guy is back in the accounting department. He's surrounded by a whole new cast of weirdos, and he is just completely over it already. You can just feel it. And this right here, this contrast, is really the show's new engine. Where Michael Scott was, well, he was Michael Scott, Ned is a genuinely inspiring leader. The creators are calling it a bad news bears vibe, which is a totally fresh dynamic for this whole universe. So if this thing was so high stakes and so new, how in the world did they manage to assemble this awesome cast while keeping the entire thing a secret? Well, the casting was basically a secret mission. Actors were auditioning for some generic, untitled project. They had absolutely no clue it was an Office spinoff. Some of them didn't even know their character's name when they met the creators for the first time. Total mystery. But once they actually started filming, some really good signs started popping up. The cast has said they kept seeing the camera operators and the sound guys physically shaking, trying not to laugh during takes. And, that's always a pretty classic sign that the comedy is working. And you could see that chemistry right away. When one of the newcomers, Gamisela Ikumelo, was asked about working with a veteran like Oscar Nuñez, she immediately jumped in with this gem. And then, without skipping a single beat, Oscar Nuñez fired this right back. I mean, that kind of instant lightning-fast banter, it just proves that this new dynamic is already clicking. It's there. So what's the big idea here? What's really driving this new show? Because it's about a lot more than just jokes about printers and staplers and Jell-O. Okay, so the core comedy engine of the show is both simple and kind of genius. When the newspaper is about to completely collapse, the new boss makes everyone, the accountants, the salespeople, the mailroom guys, go out and become actual reporters. And that brings us to the show's real heart, right? The original show was about the very simple, mundane goal of selling paper. This new series, it has a much more noble and maybe even more difficult mission, trying to save local journalism in a world obsessed with clickbait. So there you have it. They had an eject button, a top secret cast in this noble new mission. But the biggest question of all is still out there. In a world that pretty much killed the newspaper, can a sitcom actually bring it back to life? Let me know what you think down in the comments. Can they pull it off? And hey, don't forget to like this explainer and subscribe for more. I'll see you next time.